Cool. 852, peak index in the mountain array. Let's call an array A if a mountain if the following probably holds. A dot length is greater than 3. There exists some I such that basically there's a number in between that's smaller and bigger number. And given an array that's definitely a mountain, return I such that, okay. Well, I mean, I think this is, you can just do this in a, are there multiple mountains? I guess you could just return any I, so it doesn't really matter. So then we could just do a for loop, right? This is actually easier than easy. Where's Java? It's near the top. Why is this not sorted by anything reasonable? Well, I mean, I guess it's sorted by something reasonable, but I don't know. But yeah. Oh, and it's like a for each syntax in Java now, right? I still don't know. So I would have typed something like this, and I also know that it's like dot length or something. Just return -1 maybe, and then you could just if a sub I is I have to change to an index, but that's fine. Oh wait, yeah, wait no, this is the mountain. So okay, I plus 1. Oops, got auto brackets return I, right? So that's, and I think that's it. I guess in this case, that's very clean for each loop actually. Yeah, and you could definitely do binary search to be honest, yes, but I'm lazy. So I'm just gonna do it this way, and linear is for 10,000 is okay. So yeah. Oh, I should at least run the code. But I would say also for each loop, maybe this doesn't actually make sense for this particular case. But I agree with you that that is way cleaner syntax though, and it's been a while since I've done it, Java. So also if you notice, I guess I probably do this. Oh wow, this is actually really fast running time. But I don't know if this is typical. Maybe I should start doing stuff in Java. Maybe you're right. Even in my other languages, I feel like I've never seen 0 seconds, even on easy ones. But yeah, this is a for loop to just file to find the I where this is the case. Actually, I think in theory you're right in that we could do binary search, assuming that there's only one case that this is happening. But if they're multiple, then I don't know if you could do binary search. Actually, I think you could get into real states. Let me think about that, because you could like end up getting bounced around in weird places, back and forth, and there's no convergence because maybe that's not true. Maybe you could still do it, but I think it would take a little bit more. Like especially if I'm a contest, you have to prove it though, right? Like I guess if you keep intersecting, then you're always going to find that case. Uh, yeah, and I guess you don't have to find the local highest mountain, just any mountain. Maybe that's fine. Yeah, I think you could. So I'm not trying to say that like binary search doesn't work. I think what I'm trying to convey is that maybe more that it would take me more convincing to work. And I guess in an interview versus like a programming contest is where this differs. Where in a programming contest, there's no way ever you would do this in binary search because n is so small that you're just like you just do a for loop and be done with it. Where with a binary search, you have to like worry about correctness. You have to like worry about off by once more and stuff like that. But in an interview, you have 40 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever it is. So you definitely have time to like go over the whys and the hows in binary search and go through it with your interviewer and then kind of prove it correct and stuff like this. And then you could do the coding maybe from that. But yeah, that's true. I haven't been doing that much actually on stream. But yeah, so linear search, binary search. I think, I think this is what they're saying is what I was kind of saying, but only if there's only one mountain, all right? Because this this array, if you have multiple mountains, will become true, 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 false, 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 and so forth. Or sorry, they could alternate between true, false, and something like that. And that's what I would worry about. If it was in the description that there's only one mountain, or like one mountain peak, sorry, then I would 100% agree with the intuition that this is true, right? I'm like, I have no doubt in this one. But I think my only concern was that if you have multiple peaks, then like, would you get into a weird state where I don't know, like let me print out. Maybe I'll do some like, so using this binary numbers as true and false. So you have something like this because you have multiple peaks, and your multiple peaks are like, you know, okay, it's not. Let me highlight just one number, like, so it's like here and so forth, right? And dot dot dot. You only have to define one of them, which is fine. But you could get into a case where maybe, like maybe your left is no, this is your left. Let me ask you all this. Like maybe your left is here and your right is here, and as a result, you go here, and then now you're stuck in a case where, you know, well, there's no mountain peaks in between, right? If we, and I think I'm just not like, maybe you could prove it. It's just that for me, it would require proving it, right? And I think that's my only major thing. And in this case, the solution that this person wrote does not actually consider that case. So I didn't learn anything particularly new about that per se. And I think that's just one thing I worry about. I mean, I'm not saying that like I'm not, and it may be the case that this can never happen, but you would have to like prove it mathematically, right? And I think for me, if I have alternates that I don't need to prove, then I would rather do that. But as I mentioned again, if in an interview, then obviously, well, first of all, if you're in an interview, make sure that there's only one peak. If not, then you mention your concerns about stuff like this, because like you said, if there's only one peak, then all these are zeros. Then like you could definitely do what you were saying. And I think there's a harder version of this problem, which I did that. Actually, I think I used ternary search, which is fun. But I think with this problem, I'm not 100% convinced that it always converges. Though, like I said, I'm not saying that it cannot happen. I just need a proof, right? And I think for me, that proof is not a give me. So I feel like I've definitely, and so I would also say that on kind of a little bit of a meta thing, right? Like if you're in an interview, obviously you have to bring up all these concerns before you code it and stuff like this. But if I was in a coding competition, and let's say n is, you know, like 10 million or something like that, so that actually 10 million within a for loop is still fast enough usually. But let's say the constraints are enough such that you have to do a binary search. I think I would still like, you know, YOLO it and try for it because I don't have alternate ways of thinking about it. But if I have an alternate way of solving it in a straightforward manner, that's what I would do, right? And on an interview, you would kind of talk through all about that, and just to show. I mean, I think on an interview, I mean, obviously, number one is that like you should get the right answer, but even as an interviewer, obviously they will look for you to give the right answer, but even then, it's not as binary as usual, depending on the difficulty of the problem and stuff like that. It's not always binary in that like it's pass fail. Maybe on the phone screen it is because you only have a panel of one. But if you have like an on-site, then you know all these things are signals that they'll take account. Where like okay, maybe Larry didn't solve this problem, but he talked about all these things that he considered, and that's why he did it the way he did. And that, you know, and you just want to show like the breadth of your background, both in coding or whatever it is that you're interviewing for, and that's kind of the key thing. I think there's not much to talk about for this problem by itself, at least what I coded up. More than that, a lot of it is on the meta. I mean, this is just a for loop. So, I mean, if you are having trouble with this one, please practice your for loops And I think there are a couple. Like I'm really bad at off by ones actually. So definitely make sure you're careful about it. And if you're like me, you at least try to be self-aware that you're bad at off by one, so that when you code it, you look for those things that you code, right? I mean, that's part of all of that. But yeah,